All right. Well, the angelic voice of our reader, we're ready for chapter 10.
A wise magistrate educates his people, and the rule of an intelligent person is well ordered. As the people's judge is, so are his officials. As the ruler of the city is, so are all its inhabitants. An undisciplined king ruins his people, but a city becomes fit to live in through the understanding of its rulers. The government of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and over it he will raise up the right leader for the time. Human success is in the hand of the Lord, and it is he who confers honor upon the lawgiver. The sin of pride. Do not get angry with your neighbor for every injury, and do not resort to acts of insolence. Arrogance is hateful to the Lord and to mortals, and injustice is outrageous to both. Sovereignty passes from nation to nation on account of injustice and insolence and wealth. How can dust and ashes be proud? Even in life the human body decays. A long illness baffles the physician. The king of today will die tomorrow. For when one is dead, he inherits maggots and vermin and worms. The beginning of human pride is to forsake the Lord. The heart has withdrawn from its maker. For the beginning of pride is sin, and the one who clings to it pours out abominations. Therefore the Lord brings upon them unheard of calamities and destroys them completely. The Lord overthrows the thrones of rulers and enthrones the lowly in their place. The Lord plucks up the roots of the nations and plants the humble in their place. The Lord lays waste the lands of the nation and destroys them to the foundations of the earth. He removes some of them and destroys them, and erases a memory of them from the earth. Pride was not created for human beings, or violent anger for those born of women.
Okay, let's pause there for just a minute. I wanted to point out when you read that about maggots and vermins and worms, that reminds me of the song we used to sing in elementary school. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. I didn't know that was biblical. The beginning with verse 4, it talks about legislatures and kings. And it's kind of interesting because it says the government of the world is in the hands of the Lord. At the right time, he appoints the right man to rule it.
That is so hard for me to understand. If a president that I don't like, and I didn't vote for, I just, God, you said, it's hard to pray for your leaders you don't like.
Yeah. Well,
You pray that it has wisdom to make the right decisions.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's those people who need the most prayers. I was in seminary when Nixon was president. And I just can't describe to you how much I disliked that man. I mean, and so much that I refused to go to the White House to visit. I spent 3 years in Alexandria, Virginia, but I would not go to the White House. But I survived that. When people say, how can we live with this president, he's horrible, I think, I've lived 82 years. We've had good presidents, we've had bad presidents, and we survived. And I guess if we've got a bad one, they're the ones we really need to pray for. And when we've got a good one, we need to be thankful. But I'm not sure how you define a good one from a bad one. But as that verse 4 says, the government of the world is in the hands of the Lord.
So it's true.
So we've got to trust that God's in control, and not focus on who's in the office. And it's not just, I mean, Scripture is not written just for the United States.
No.
I mean, it was written for China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, all of those. So we have to trust that somehow God is in control. Even though some mornings we might get up and think, I don't think anybody's at the switch. But guess what? The train still heads down the track.
Slowly.
Slowly. I'll tell you a quick train story. When I did the church in Pratt, one of the members of the church was an engineer for, not the Santa Fe,
That'd be the Rock Island down there, or the Union Pacific.
Union Pacific. He was an engineer. And one of his buddies was heading to court. And he said there was an elderly lady that was suing the engineer and the railroad company for hitting her car. And when they got to trial, the attorney for the railroad company said, "Ma'am, can you describe what happened?" She said, "I was sitting there and I saw the train coming and it swerved and hit my car." And apparently the judge said, "Beg your pardon?"
She's out of her mind.
She said, "The train swerved and hit my car." And the judge said, "I believe the train runs on tracks. It don't swerve. It just goes on the tracks." And the woman just said, "I'm telling you, it swerved and hit my car." The judge looked at the defense attorney and said, "You wouldn't happen to have a motion to dismiss in your file, would you?" They dismissed it. But he said, that was just the laugh of the whole station, all the engineers and people who were from the train. I mean, this woman had in her head that the train swerved and hit her. See, everyone has a
You're not supposed to
perception.
sit on the tracks.
Yeah,
Also,
everyone has a perception.
to sit behind.
And yeah, and it doesn't have to be true.
Oh, no.
So, you know,
Well, mine are all true,
well, that's because you're,
especially the stuff I get off the internet.
yeah,
If
Well,
you
you're
get it
an
off the internet, it's absolutely true.
you're an Episcopalian, and so you know that what you believe is true.
There you go.
Anyway, Joyce and I were talking about that train story this morning. It was on my mind, but I got thinking, that's that kind of perception that we're talking about here in the beginning of chapter 10. That some people don't believe the Lord is in control, and they get angry when a new ruler is been elected. And it's not just our ruler. They're all over.
Just reading that part, the government of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and it takes all the weight off of you. So you can just pray about it, and He's in control.
Yeah. It's not what we want, it's what He wants. Okay,
Ready?
ready.
Persons deserving honor. Whose offspring are worthy of honor? Human offspring. Whose offspring are worthy of honor? Those who fear the Lord. Whose offspring are worthy of honor? Human offspring. Whose offspring are unworthy of honor? Those who break the commandments. Among family members, their leaders is worthy of honor, but those who fear the Lord are worthy of honor in His eyes. The rich and the eminent and the poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. It is not right to despise one who is intelligent but poor. It is not proper to honor one who is sinful. The prince and the judge and the ruler are honored, but none of them is greater than the one who fears the Lord. Free citizens will serve a wise servant, and an intelligent person will not complain. Concerning humility, do not make a display of your wisdom when you do your work, and do not boast when you are in need. Better is the worker who has goods in plenty than the boaster who lacks bread. My child, honor yourself with humility and give yourself the esteem you deserve. Who will acquit those who condemn themselves? And who will honor those who dishonor themselves? The poor are honored for their knowledge, while the rich are honored for their wealth. One who is honored is poverty, how much more in wealth? And one dishonored is wealth, how much more in poverty?
Okay. The concept here of humility and sense of honor is alien to Greeks. You know, if you have humility, you're not flashy about it. You know, the Greeks weren't necessarily a showy people, and this is the Hebrew writings translated into Greek. And so SIrach, when he wrote this, we're going to see a little flavor from the Greeks dripping in here. The poor man may be honored for his wisdom, the rich man for his wealth. If a man is honored in poverty, how much more in wealth? And if he is despised in wealth, how much more in poverty? A poor man with wisdom can hold his head high and take his seat among the great. So it's not what you have, it's how you use what you have. And, you know, greatness was just something that the Greeks didn't argue about. I know in philosophy, you had Socrates, you had Aristotle, you had Plato. They never argued who was the greatest. You know, they were all within the same basic time frame. Socrates may be a little bit older than Plato and Aristotle, but you know, they never, in writing their philosophy, they never said, you know, if you read Plato, you'd realize he didn't know what in the heck he was talking about. They just make their case. You know, they had humility, and they proved their greatness by their writings, not by downplaying someone else. And this again, you know, I don't want to get into politics, but this is what happens with our elections. I wish somebody would just run for an office and say, this is why you should vote for me, because, you know, I believe this, this, and this. Instead, I get these things in the mail that say, the other guy's a real SOB.
Yeah.
You can't trust him. You know, don't put $1 on the table in front of him, he'll steal it. You know, he's a liar, he's a conniver.
All of that stuff
I
when the
hate that too.
commercials are on constantly, I'm like, I can't even watch TV.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always glad when the primary's through, because at least we'll have maybe a month without these political ads.
Yeah.
And you know, you say, vote no on the Supreme Court, vote yes on the Supreme Court. And then they find a whole bunch of obscure things that they throw out there, and you think, you know, maybe we shouldn't have a Supreme Court, because apparently both sides think they're a bunch of crooks.
Yeah.
And that actually isn't the way it works. But so, you know, here we're hitting Ecclesiasticus at the right time, you know, during election. Let's go on with chapter 11.
The deceptiveness of appearances. The wisdom of the humble lifts their heads high and seats them among the great. Do not praise individuals for their good looks, or loathe anyone because of appearance alone. The bee is small among flying creatures, but what it produces is the best of sweet things. Do not boast about wearing fine clothes, and do not exalt yourself when you are honored. For the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works are concealed from humankind. Many kings have had to sit on the ground. but one who has never thought of his worn crown. Many rulers have been utterly disgraced, and the honored have been handed over to others. Deliberation and caution. Do not find fault before you investigate. Examine first and then criticize. Do not answer before you listen, and do not interrupt when another is speaking. Do not argue about a matter that does not concern you, and do not sit with sinners when they judge a case. My child, do not busy yourself with many matters. If you multiply activities, you will not be held blameless. If you pursue, you will not overtake, and by fleeing, you will not escape. There are those who work and struggle and hurry, but are so much the more in want. There are others who are slow and need help, and who lack strength and abound in poverty, but the eyes of the Lord look kindly upon them. He lifts them out of their lowly condition and raises up their heads to the amazement of the many. Good things and bad, life and death, poverty and wealth come from the Lord. The Lord's gift remains with the devout, and his favor brings lasting success. One becomes rich through diligence and self-denial, and the reward allotted to him is this. When he says, I have found rest, and now I shall feast on my goods, he does not know how long it will be until he leaves them to others and dies. Stand by your agreement and attend to it, and grow old in your work. Do not wonder at the works of a sinner, but trust in the Lord and keep it at your job. For it is easy in the sight of the Lord to make the poor rich suddenly, in an instant. The blessing of the Lord is the reward of the pious. And quickly God causes his blessing to flourish. Do not say, what do I need, and what further benefit can be mine. Do not say, I have enough, and what harm can come to me now. In the day of prosperity, adversity is forgotten, and in the day of adversity, prosperity is not remembered. For it is easy for the Lord on the day of death to reward individuals according to their conduct. An hour's misery makes one forget past delights, and at the close of one's life, one's deeds are revealed. Call no one happy before his death. By how he ends, a person becomes known. Care in choosing friends. Do not invite everyone into your home, for many are the tricks of the crafty. Like a decoy partridge in a cage, so is the mind of the proud. And like spies, they observe their weakness. For they lie in wait, turning good into evil, and to worthy actions they attach blame. From a spark many coals are kindled, and a sinner lies in wait to shed blood. Beware of scoundrels, for they devise evil, and they may ruin your reputation forever. Receive strangers into your home, and they will stir up trouble for you, and will make you a stranger to your own family.
Okay. Now, look at the numbering of the verses. Can you find verse 14? What's the next verse after 14?
17.
That's
Oh,
different.
my.
What happened with that?
Anyone notice if there's
I
a couple
did.
verses missing?
Oh,
And the reason for that is it was the 15 and 16 were revisions that were added that were not part of the original work. Unless you were following the numbering carefully, you'd never know that. And so,
You got an eye for the detail.
well, no, I've got a commentary.
So does the commentary have those verses that were excluded?
No, but I have a footnote that says, some witnesses add 15, from the Lord comes wisdom, understanding and love, knowledge of the law, and the doing of good works. 16, error and darkness has been with sinners from their birth, and evil grows old along with those who take delight in it. But they were trying to clarify what's come before. Now, also, when when you look at the beginning of chapter 11, and when you get over into, my son, do not engage in too many transactions. If you attempt too much, you will come to grief. When you are in pursuit, you will not overtake. When you are in flight, you will not escape. This harkens back to Ecclesiastes. Everything is folly. Everything in life is just folly. And so there is a little overlap between Ecclesiasticus and Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiasticus being the wisdom of Solomon, in that they're talking about the folly of life. So apparently, whoever wrote, SIrach, who we believe wrote Ecclesiasticus, was familiar with Ecclesiastes, and he's picked up that same theme here and says, but the Lord turns a kindly eye upon him and lifts him up out of the miserable. He raises him to dignity, to the amazement of all. So we've got, this is why these two books are confusing for me, because when you start reading, you think, this is kind of the same thing that Ecclesiasticus has. The only thing Ecclesiasticus does not have is no one wrote a song.
Would you say nobody what?
Nobody wrote a song.
Oh, yes.
Do everything, turn. Who wrote that?
For everything there's a season.
Yeah.
Uh,
The carpenters.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
No, it's a kind of a rock band. I can't.
The Carpenters. The Carpenters are named.
Anyway, I'll send you what the name of that band
I thought it
is.
was like the Yardbirds.
Yeah, it'd be a group like the
Yeah.
Yardbirds. And, they took Ecclesiastes, that passage, and turned it into a hit song. So when it's read at funerals, people think we're quoting from a rock song.
That could be worse.
Yes. You okay?
You know what that was? My paper hit that.
Oh.
I did too.
All right.
Yeah, special effects over
Yeah.
If you're ready remodeling the ceiling, let's go on with chapter 12.
Okay. If you do good, know to whom you do it, and you will be thanked for your good deeds. Do good to the devout, and you will be repaid. If not by them, certainly by the Most High. No good comes to one who persists in evil, or to one who does not give alms. Give to the devout, but do not help the sinner. Do good to the humble, but do not give to the ungodly. Hold back their bread, and do not give it to them, for by means of it they might subdue you. Then you will receive twice as much evil for all the good you have done to them. For the Most High also hates sinners, and you will inflict punishment on the ungodly. Give to the one who is good, but do not help the sinner. A friend is not known in prosperity, nor is an enemy hidden in adversity. One's enemies are friendly when one prospers, but in adversity even one's friend disappears. Never trust your enemy, for like corrosion in copper, so is his wickedness. Even if he humbles himself and walks bowed down, take care to be on your guard against him. Be to him like one who polishes a mirror, to be sure it does not become completely tarnished. Do not put him next to you, or he may overthrow you and take your place. Do not let him sit at your right hand, or else he may try to take your own seat. And at last you will realize the truth of my words and be stung by what I have said. Who pities a snake charmer when he is bitten, or all those who go near wild animals? So no one pities a person who associates with a sinner and becomes involved in the other's sins. He stands by you for a while, but if you falter, he will not be there. An enemy speaks sweetly with his lips, but his heart he plans to throw you into a pit. An enemy may have tears in his eyes, but if he finds an opportunity, he will never have enough of your blood. If evil comes upon you, you will find him there ahead of you. Pretending to help, he will trip you up. Then he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and show his true face.
Okay.
Beware of the enemy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the joke, how can you tell the difference between a Baptist and an Episcopalian in a liquor store? The Episcopalian will say hi.
That's good.
Baptist just walks by, kind of hoping you don't recognize him. This chapter really points out tremendous problem that churches have, because it says if you do a good deed, make sure to whom you are doing it. In return for your favor, okay, the Most High himself hates sinners and sends bad men what they deserve. Give to a good man, but never help a sinner. Keep your good works for the humble, not the insolent. We've got a kitchen here, or a food pantry, and we've got one over at Emmanuel. People come and they want food. You want to give it to people who really need it.
Yes.
But believe it or not, some people come and get that food and they don't need it. They try to sell it. We've got a bike ministry at Emmanuel. We have bikes that are donated. We've got a guy who volunteers to repair the bikes and make them workable. And then if somebody comes in and they need a bike, we give them a bike. For some people who don't have a car, a bike is the only way they're going to get to work, and we want people to have a job. Pastor Tim, when he was the pastor at Emmanuel, one day was driving down the street, Main Street, and there's that pawn shop on the corner. And out in front of the pawn shop was parked one of the bikes some guy got just earlier that week. And, you know, I said, did you go tell the pawn shop owner that that's a church bike? He said, no. He said, it's just one of those things where you try to help people who need help, and sometimes they rip you off. I can't tell you how many times over my ministry that I'm just amazed at how some people abuse the system, and you want to make sure everyone gets helped. You know, the angel trees. When I was back in Michigan, I was an interim pastor in one of the Presbyterian churches, and we wrap packages, and the people they're for, they'll come and get them. And this woman was there, and I said, well, I'll carry these out to your car. She says, oh, no, you don't have to do that. I said, no, I insist. So we went out to her car, brand new Cadillac. She opened the trunk, and there were a bunch of packages. She had already gone to 2 neighboring communities and got stuff for Angel Tree. And we kind of think what she did is she opened the packages and took them back and exchanged them for cash. And I thought, you know, we have children who won't get a Christmas. And this, I did not want to put those packages in her trunk.
Did you?
I did. Because I thought, you know, I'll let God sort this. But I did tell the group, if she put her name down, don't get her anything next year. You know, it's so hard. And, you know, here it's saying, don't help the evil people. But it would be so much easier if they had a big E on their forehead.
The
So we
mark of
knew-
Cain. The mark of Cain.
Yeah. It's so easy if we knew who was evil. I mean, you try to help everybody that needs help. But some people, one of the other churches I had in Brighton was on Grand River, which is a major road that went from Detroit to Lansing, which was the capital of Michigan. And we get a lot of people who'd stop in for help. And there was an Episcopal church, Presbyterian church, Methodist church, a Roman Catholic church, all in a row. And so the first one that got hit, we'd call the next one on the list, we'd call the next one. Now I had to deal with the gas station across from the church. I'd call them and they would fill the tank up. And there was a Coney Island in the parking lot behind the gas station. If somebody was hungry, they could get 2 hot dogs or a hamburger, French fries, piece of pie, cup of coffee, or a soft drink.
So good.
And, I had to deal with the guy who owned the restaurant. If I sent somebody over, he would feed them, and then I'd come over later and settle up. Somebody come in, they needed gas. And I said, well, go to the gas station. Well, I've got half a tank now. I need it. I need to fill up down the road. And I said, I won't give you money. You can get gas. He said, well, I really need the money because I'll get closer to Lansing and then I'll run out of gas. And I said, no, if you fill up your tank here, you'll be able to get to Lansing and beyond. I've driven it myself. East Lansing, Michigan State, is right next to Lansing. So I knew from Brighton, when I would drive up to the football games, how much gas it took. And, all 4 of the churches, we agreed that we would network so that they couldn't come to one and get money, or the next one to get money, the next one to get money. You want to help people who need it. Guys say, I can't eat greasy food. I said, well, the hot dogs aren't really greasy. Just put them on the grill and, browns them up. Well, hot dogs give me indigestion.
Yeah.
I said,
Sorry, that's what we got.
yeah, that's what's on the menu. Well, can't you just give me money and I can stop at a fast food place? And I said, but they're going to have burgers.
Yeah.
They're greasy.
That's long before they had chicken sandwiches. But you want to help people. But it's like pounding your head against a brick wall.
Well, we recently had the parable about the seeds. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know that too. It's like, well, let the harvester sort out the weeds.
Yeah.
And so, how do you reconcile this with that? There are a lot of conflicts in the writings.
Yeah. It's really, and I don't know a single pastor, rector, priest, whatever, who hasn't struggled
Oh,
with that. When we used to have clergy get-togethers, we would all say that was the big issue of the week. And we talk about it every week, but no one ever had an answer. You just have to trust that God will sort it out.
and sometimes your gut will tell you.
Yeah. Well, y'all remember the person that came in here.
How could we forget?
I was here. I was just in another room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it.
She just wanted money
We'll never forget.
and was upset that we wouldn't just give her money.
Was that the one that was dressed very different?
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
I believe I heard that.
She
I
was
was,
from California.
Little fishy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they were mad.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
they were
yeah.
mad.
Some days are like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they get really upset when you don't help them.
Well, and the thing is that when you want to help somebody and everything, and you put trust in them. My husband and Fred and I were at Walmart, and this young lady came up to us, and she had a baby. And her basket was full. And she goes, I just don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't afford to pay for this. And I need to get some Similac for my baby, and we had just got paid. So I looked at Fred and I go, we need to help her out. We need to help her. He goes, I
Why she
agree.
put the stuff in her basket, Mom? She should have known.
Well, okay. So we go over to get Similac for the baby and all this kind of stuff. And I said, we'll go up front and I'll pay for your, oh my goodness sakes. It was like $140, $150 that we paid for. But we were trusting this person could not make it on her own and she needed help.
Mhm.
Well, Fred and I left the store after that. We get in our car and what? Lo and behold, she gets in a Mercedes and drives off.
That would flag me.
That's why she can afford a
That's
Mercedes.
Well, come to find out, it was a big scammer because she did it the day after at Walgreens. And Fred and I drove by, and there was the police officers with her. And I was like, oh, maybe we should pull in there and tell them that she owes us $140. So
I mean, you just feel terrible. You felt so good, and then you feel like, crap.
We thought we were helping her.
You
Yeah.
can't trust people.
It's hard to like.
I couldn't turn my nose up and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. There was just no way.
Yeah.
Was there
So,
really a baby in the basket?
yes. But the next day, she had an older kid with her, and she had the same clothes on, stains all over it and everything. You know, and come to find out it's some kind of scam. Well, they scammed us, that's for sure.
Well, I
You never
remember
know.
Speaking of scams, did you ever recover from your dog experience?
try to get through 13.
Caution regarding associates. Whoever touches pitch gets dirty, and whoever associates with a proud person becomes like him. Do not lift a weight too heavy for you, or associate with one mightier and richer than you. How can the clay pot associate with the iron kettle? The pot will strike against it and be smashed. A rich person does wrong and even adds insults. A poor person suffers wrong and must add apologies. A rich person will exploit you if you can be of use to him, but if you are in need, he will abandon you. If you own something, he will live with you. He will drain your resources without a qualm. When he needs you, he will deceive you and will smile at you and encourage you. He will speak to you kindly and say, "What do you need?" He will embarrass you with his delicacies until he has drained you 2 or 3 times, and finally he will laugh at you. Should he see you afterwards, he will pass you by and shake his head at you. Take care not to be led astray and humiliated when you are enjoying yourself. When an influential person invites you, be reserved, and he will invite you more insistently. Do not be forward, or you may be rebuffed. Do not stand aloof, or you will be forgotten. Do not try to treat him as an equal, or trust his lengthy conversations, for he will test you by prolonged talk, and while he smiles, he will be examining you. Cruel are those who do not keep your secrets. They will not spare you harm or imprisonment. Be on your guard and very careful, for you are walking about with your own downfall. Every creature loves its like, and every person the neighbor. All living beings associate with their own kind, and people stick close to those like themselves. What does a wolf have in common with a lamb? No more has a sinner with a devout. What peace is there between a hyena and a dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? Wild asses in the wilderness are the prey of lions. Likewise, the poor are feeding grounds for the rich. Humility is an abomination to the proud. Likewise, the poor are an abomination to the rich. When the rich purse totters, he is supported by friends. But when he humble fails, he is pushed away even by friends. If the rich person slips, many come to the rescue. He speaks unseemly words, but they justify him. If the humble person slips, they even criticize him. He talks sense, but is not given a hearing. The rich person speaks, and all are silent. They extol to the clouds what he says. The poor person speaks, and they say, "Who is this fellow?" And should he stumble, they even push him down. Riches are good if they are free from sin. Poverty is evil only in the opinion of the ungodly. The heart changes the countenance either for good or for evil. The sign of a happy heart is a cheerful face, but to devise proverbs requires painful thinking.
Another great section.
But you almost put it like you're an individual man in all this, you know.
The wealth is good if sin has not tainted it. And we treat wealth now. You know, what do we want to do with millionaires and billionaires? What do some people want to do? Tax them. But a lot of these people who are wealthy use that wealth for good things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, hospitals have been built because people have donated money. The cooks
Folks,
who live in Wichita, the two brothers that still own several million apiece, they donate money to hospitals all the time. One of their wives donated money for a art museum on Rock Road. And I mean,
Mark Arts.
Hmm?
Mark Arts.
yes. Wealthy people can make a difference in the world. And I remember I had a member of one of my congregation who was a multimillionaire. And he said, "You have no idea how hard it is for people who have a lot of money to figure out where to spend it." He said, "I could write a check every year and cover the whole budget for this church. But if I do, nobody else will donate anything.
True.
And when I die, where are you going to get the money? Because people have gotten used to not giving it." This happened in Pratt. One of the members over there, Lemon family, the senior member of the family was the guy with all the money. And he made tremendous contributions to the church. When he died, his widow stopped making contributions. And the church was really struggling. And, you know, it's difficult to overcome. So my friend was right. You know, if you've got money, you've got to be so careful how you spend it, because it can help, but it can also hurt. When you look at a lot of these people, the guy in Omaha,
Berkshire,
yeah,
that's what I got.
the Berkshire Hathaway guy. Yeah, Warren Buffett. He gives away tremendous amounts of money. But, you know, there are people who just,
It enables other people.
pardon?
It enables other people.
Yes,
And then it kind of stunts their own growth.
yeah. I mean, even if we took all the money from the billionaires, we still wouldn't have enough money to make everyone happy. So, of course, in terms of taxes, that's not an issue with me. I'm a poor country church mouse. All right, we got through chapter 13. We'll pick up with 14 next time. I just want to mention the commentary said that the first verse in chapter 13, "Keep company with an arrogant man, and you will grow like him." Excuse me. Shakespeare quotes that in Much to Do About Nothing. So, you know, these scriptural things find their way into lot of art. So, all right, next week.
Is that plagiarism or something? Borrow out of the scriptures?
Well,
Not really.
if it were, that guy that runs around with that John 3:16 sign at
Oh,
football games would be in trouble. Okay,
What's the deal with these guys that serve